Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. This is Elliot Upson. This is at UP Fitness Live, Ultimate Performance. This is where I stand here for an hour and I talk to you about anything you need to know with regards to our products, our online training, our one-to-one training, answer any of your questions on the fitness industry, anything else that you could need me for. As always, we are recording this. This will be put up for the next 24 hours on Instagram. It will then go up on YouTube. So when you want to watch this again, if you miss out today, don't worry if you have to run off. We will be playing it yet again. First of all, as always, what's up, Jesse? Our big announcements. UP are recruiting across the globe right now. We are recruiting. We are expanding at a very, very rapid rate right now in many, many countries across many, many continents, and we are looking for staff. We are looking for trainers with attitude over aptitude. We can teach you everything you need to know, but you have to be the right person. So, if you would like to come and work for UP, if you would like to undergo the most comprehensive education system in the world, if you would like to work with and become one of the best personal trainers in the industry, head over to upfitness.com and send us your CV via the recruitment page there. We are looking for staff everywhere, as I say, across the States, across Dubai. We've got other gyms opening all over the place, across the UK, across Australia, you name it. So make sure you get in there quick. That's a big, big thing. There's going to be thousands and thousands of applicants, no doubt. But just because it's going to be difficult, don't be scared to apply. We want you, as Mr. Nick Mitchell's picture says. I'm going to catch up with who's coming in. Other announcements while we've got here. Mayzilla, what's up? How are you? Lots of very, very familiar faces / names. Bavana, hello. Second thing, big refurb going on at UP Marbella, our amazing European flagship gym, 30,000 square foot of outdoor training space. We are taking a huge refurbishment. We're switching around where the reception was. We're opening a massive amount more gym space. We're putting a new reception / chill out area / coffee shop in the other side. Those of you who have been to UP Marbella, you can see we've got two enormous buildings. The second building, which was used for a big cardio section, martial arts dojo and general space, that is now going to be a reception area. So when you come across for the seminars in October, that's going to be a really, really nice place for you to chill out, get to know each other. It's just going to be a cool place. And then inside we've got more equipment going in, massively focused on female training and glute specific training. We're getting new equipment, specialist equipment for that. And there's going to be a ton more space. So it's going to be, despite being arguably the best gym in Europe, it's going to be an even nicer gym. So if you haven't been to UP Marbella, come and check that out. It's a very, very big, exciting development. As always, our training options for those of you who do train with us, have trained with us, or want to train with us, you can do one-to-one if you are close to one of our gyms. Alternatively, you can do one-to-one online if you are not close to one of our gyms and you still want the coaching expertise of a UP trainer, or if you can't quite afford that, we can also offer you our LiveUP online personal training, which is a pre-made program that you are supervised throughout via a central forum, which again is unbelievable value. We'll have loads of people from the LiveUP program in and amongst this chat tonight, so do feel free if you have any questions about that, chime in. I will answer and no doubt so will they. Mateus, loads of more. There's also, you can quite often send requests to be in these live feeds. I'm not actually going to open them up because you could say absolutely anything and there's no way of me trusting you and making sure you say the right thing. So please stop asking. Huh? So who's going to kick me off with the first questions tonight? Use this while I'm at it. This is my craving killer. This is my appetite suppressant. This is what I like to use to control my appetite constantly. If I get cravings for sweet food or I'm feeling particularly hungry in the evenings, I have sparkling water with usually some fresh lemon squeezed in it. I find it's an amazing way of keeping your body settled. Other reasons why your appetite may be rampant, and a very, very common one is poor gut health. So one of the things that can really, really help if you find that you struggle to maintain your appetite properly is probiotics. Make sure you have good gut health. You can get some probiotics if you go to upfitness.com and you search Gut Flora, that's Gut Flora, Flora, in the search bar, that will bring some up. If you have an imbalance in your gut microbiome, it can play havoc with your neurotransmitters, it can play havoc with your ability to control your appetite, which if you are dieting to try and drop body fat, that of course is a really, really big factor, how well you can control your appetite. Hi from Australia, how much are PT sessions? Matty, the best thing for you to do, because they're different depending on where you are, is to contact the Sydney gym, which is the current one open. You can do that via upfitness.com, go to our gym locations, send a direct inquiry to the Sydney gym, and they will be able to discuss pricing options based on your needs and what you want. Okay, so do you find it better with warm water and lemon or cold. If it's the sparkling water that I drink to kill my craving, to kill my appetite, I always have that cold. If you mean in the morning, first thing, which I do with warm water, salt and lemon, then yes, that is warm. Partially because it helps to digest the salt. Secondly, because it's slightly better for your digestive system first thing in the morning. Something I really, really recommend. I put a post on my own profile about it a while ago. It's something that I advise all of the LiveUP members do to help kickstart their gut health, to reduce bloating, to get things moving first thing in the morning. That's probably about half a pint of warm water, a pinch of coloured Himalayan salt, and fresh lemon, the juice of a fresh lemon. As I say, if you go over to my profile, you'll see a video of me making it exactly as you need. But that's really, really good. For those of you who don't do it, try doing it, start doing it. Rather than having your coffee in the morning, have this in the morning. Coffee is more likely to damage your gut, whereas the warm water, lemon and salt is going to really, really help to nourish your gut. It's going to help to repair your gut, and it's going to really, really help to reduce bloating. So anyone out there suffers with the IBS or bloating, etc., it's going to kick that into touch. Please, please do an open gym in Dublin. I'm sure you'd make a fortune, and most importantly, make me very happy. This is something you're going to have to ask the big boss. I don't know if he's got plans to open in Dublin just yet. I can't imagine it's that high up on the list right now. The majority of our concentration is on the United States at the moment. Obviously, things are going crazy for us in the United States. Big things happening there, so the boss's focus is going to have to be there for a little while. After that, who knows? Dublin may well be on the cards. How much salt do you use? Thanks. Just simply a pinch, just a little pinch of salt, enough that you can get between your fingers, drop it in, stir it up so it dissolves, and then down it goes. I personally prefer to neck it. I don't like to sit there and sort of, but some people really enjoy the taste. Personally, for me, I'm just a bang. It's the same with my apple cider vinegar, which I also do in the morning. I actually throw that down as a shot and chase it immediately with water. Whereas obviously a lot of people advise for you to mix it in with water because it can be quite harsh on your throat, it can be quite harsh on your stomach. But chase it down with water, I find that's a lot better than sipping the concoction, which is disgusting. Ninja, yes, there are plenty coming to the USA. We are expanding across the USA very, very quickly indeed. There are a few that are imminent, extra ones in LA, New York, Washington. So they're opening up very, very fast for confirmed locations and potential opening dates. Go over to @HeyNickMitchell, go over to the boss's profile. Make sure you join one of his chats or when he does his questions every day, which he seems to be getting on very, very frequently at the moment. So he's giving you guys a lot of info. Go and ask him for specifics, and he may be able to give you a bit of information that I can't. But we are expanding very, very quickly across all the cities in the US, all the major cities. So watch this space on that one. Yes, I drink one instead of sips. Yeah, it's the way to do it, I think, for sure. Another thing that a lot of you have been talking about recently, and you know, this is something that comes from the LiveUP check-ins. One of the reports that we have a lot at the moment is there's heat waves across the UK right now, there's heat waves across various countries right now, that apparently is stopping you all from training. Now, let me put this to you, for someone who's done personal training for very, very, very many years, there is always going to be something that stops you. I get told weekly that the reason someone has not done their cardio or their training is because it was raining. I get told weekly during the summer that someone has not done their cardio or their training because it was too hot. I get told weekly that people have cheated on their diet because the weather was miserable and they felt like they needed different kinds of food. I get told during the summer weekly that it's too hot so people didn't eat the right kind of food because they needed different kind of food. You've seen a pattern here. All of you out there are too quick to find excuses, external excuses for not being compliant and not doing what you are told. So have a think about it next time you're deciding, oh, it's too hot for me to train, it's too hot for me to do my cardio, it's too hot for me to do this. You will always find an excuse not to do what you have to do. So do try to take a big deep breath and push yourself. For want of a better word, stop being a pansy. In fact, I think it says, "Thou shalt not train like a pussy" on my back. This is a t-shirt that's available on the website, so you can go over and get that, wear it while you're training, and remember it while you're training. Because it's too hot, that's not a good enough excuse to train. Because it's raining outside, it's not a good enough excuse to train. Because it's warm or it's cold, it's not a good excuse to cheat on your diet if your results are genuinely important to you. Remember that. Step it up just a little bit, please. There's a career path for the fitness instructor roles. Agostina, there is in UP. UP pretty much exclusively at the moment. There are a lot of people following suit, or at least trying to follow suit. UP is the only business that allows personal trainers a genuine career path. The majority of trainers, really, realistically, they get qualified often, far too quickly. When it's CrossFit, you can be qualified in 48 hours. When it goes to personal training, you can be qualified in 6 weeks. Both of these are absolutely ridiculous timeframes. There is a lot of weight on your shoulders as a personal trainer. There is a lot of responsibility. You have a big responsibility to your clients and their well-being, both physical and psychological. Now, not enough structure is given to these education systems. People are qualified too quickly, way too quickly, and don't have the care, attention, or skill set to deliver to clients properly. That being said, those of you who manage to survive without hurting someone, those of you who actually get into the personal training business and really start to thrive in it, ultimately, unless you're very intelligent, you can't really go anywhere. What you've done is you've qualified to be in a job. Trust me, I know this, I've done it for very many years. You've qualified yourself to be in a job because it's a very difficult industry to grow in. Unless you want to sell supplements as an affiliate or you become some kind of big Instagram influencer, it's hard to go from being a PT on the gym floor to anything else. Now there's a big trend in online training at the moment, but it's full of fucking cowboys, full of cowboys. It's unbelievable the amount certain people are ripping, the general public off. That of course is an option to you, but again, you're not really necessarily going to expand. What UP has allowed is it's taken trainers who otherwise wouldn't necessarily have had a way out of personal training, and it's given them careers where they can manage gyms, they can manage entire countries or continents of gyms, and they have skill sets that are directing them towards other part of the business. It's essentially given 300 or 400 trainers to date career paths that they never would have had ordinarily. So yeah, there's a huge option for expansion and evolution as a personal trainer within UP. Within the industry as a whole, not so much. Once you're a PT, you're a PT, and unless you're very skilled and you can do an awful lot of other stuff, you're a great business person, marketer, salesman, or woman, etc., you're going to struggle to move away from being on a gym floor until you're 50. And trust me, no one wants to do that. You work unsociable hours, long hours, it takes all the energy out of you. You're probably going to become addicted to coffee. You're probably going to end up screwing your own diet up and own training because you run out of time. And there's only so many hours you can work. UP gives you the opportunity to progress down a different career path. So it's there. Again, a reminder, as I mentioned right at the very beginning of this video, we are recruiting. I was going to write it right there until I realised that I'm filming this through the selfie cam so I can see myself. We are recruiting across all of our gyms across the entire world, including Marbella. So do get over to upfitness.com, the recruitment section, and apply. The hardest part about training is turning up to your PT. It should be damn easy if you have a PT. If you've set yourself an appointment, that's one thing. For a lot of people, yes, absolutely. The hardest thing about training is getting off the sofa and getting to your gym. But there are certain things you can do to help that. It's very important for all of you out there to find a gym that you like, to find a gym that inspires you, to find a gym where you are surrounded by people who make you want to train. That could be because of the social aspect afterwards. That could be because the people in there train like beasts and you're inspired by it and you're motivated by it. But do yourselves a favour, especially if you're living in a city. 90% of you have got access to at least 5 or 6 gyms that you could train in. Explore. Find the ones that really, you go in and you think, do you know what, this is where I want to train. It has the equipment, it has the people. I love the people behind reception, the personal training staff or the fitness staff try to help me, they try to correct my form. This is one of the big things that is a huge void within the industry and within gyms, is that the majority of gym staff, personal training staff, have zero interest in making sure you're lifting with good form. I've seen recently, been training in a different gym, and on the whole, it's fine, just to try and get a little bit of peace. But there are 1 or 2 trainers that in my 15 odd year career, haven't seen anything worse. Like, it is painful to watch some of this stuff. And this is the PT with a paying client. Now, that being said, maybe certain PTs think, I don't need to speak to another person in the gym to correct their form if they're doing something dangerous. First of all, for PTs out there, that's your number 1 way of selling your personal training packages, is to go and help people. Go and help people. Don't be shy, don't be nervous, go and help them. That is your job. That's what you have qualified in 6 weeks to do. For the right gym, you need to be around trainers, gym staff, people, other members who want to help you get the most out of your time. That's really important. So yes, getting off your sofa, getting to the gym is a really hard part, but a lot of that is down to the gym that you choose, so choose it wisely. Agostino, what advice would you give now on how to get started as a fitness instructor? Qualify first. Again, Where I am out here, 90% of people aren't even qualified. They're not legally qualified, so qualify first, and then get yourself into a gym, again, that you love being at, that you are willing to spend 20 hours a day at if necessary, and you spend as much time in that gym as possible. You speak to as many people as possible. You train as many people as possible. You get as many hours under your belt as you possibly can. You should be the first person through that door in the morning, learning, looking, talking, communicating. You should be the last person leaving at night, having learned, watched, communicated, brought stuff home, made notes, put the hours in early doors. The faster you put the hours in, the more committed you are to working harder than everybody else next to you. You are going to be a much better trainer much more quickly, and that is going to have a huge knock-on effect to your long-term success, your financial success, and your ability to take more time off work, because you can demand a much higher rate, because you get much better results, because you put more learning time in earlier on in the day. So get into a gym with as many people, as many trainers, as many competitors, and as many clients as possible, and just get the hours in. And scanning the training camp. What's the pay up option? 105 deposit, then pay what by when? It's basically you'll be given up to a limit to pay off the final balance. So obviously if you're paying the 105 now, you save up the rest of it and then click to pay the balance. You'll be sent an email to pay the balance off just before the actual seminar. The 105 merely secures your place. If you haven't paid by a certain date, that place obviously will be removed. For anyone wondering about what he's talking about there, I personally will be running a 3-day training seminar out here in Marbella from October 3rd till the 6th. The seminar actually starts on the 4th, but you'll need to get here on the 3rd because it starts early. It is going to encompass all things technique, strength, fat loss and hypertrophy, conditioning, stress management. I did 2 seminars earlier on this year across Manchester and London. They both sold out. They were both amazingly successful. We had an amazing time. So we've decided to expand that completely and go for 3 full days. We've organised a massive discount, a fifth of the normal price, at a local hotel which is about 2 miles from the gym, so you're going to be able to sleep, chill out in style. There's a pool there, really nice restaurant, it's very close to Port Banús, and then the rest of the time you're going to be at the gym with me. We're going to do some external stuff. We have guest instructors coming. It's going to be a massive seminar. It is already, and we have more to go, it is already the biggest training seminar or camp in UP's history. There are more people attending. It's going to be more comprehensive than anything we have ever done in the past. It's super exciting, and we're still not even finished yet. We're not fully sold out because it's sold out way too quickly. So what we've done is basically double the quantity of people, and we've adjusted the whole way the seminar is set up in order to accommodate that. If you're interested in that, if you want to come and train with me personally for 3 days in October 3rd till the 6th, go to my profile, Elliot Upton. Some of you will know me, some of you will need to search for me. Hit the link in my bio and get there. It's going to be insane. Joanne, I think the more challenging conditions, the better the workouts in the long run. Well, actually, for those of you complaining about the heat, it's actually more beneficial to you to train in the heat. Your muscles are more limber, you're going to be more awake. And the only thing you need to make sure you're doing is topping up with something like amplifiers. So you've got electrolytes to replenish the salts, etc., that you are losing when you sweat, and remain hydrated at all times. Very important. Thanks for the advice, very helpful and informative. Not a problem, Agostino. Mika, if you want to lose fat and gain muscle, do you recommend being under a calorie deficit, training harder, and maintenance diet, and training even harder? Well, you're not going to lose fat if you're not in a deficit, so you will need to be in a small deficit and training hard. Either way, you should be training hard. I drank 2 big glasses of wine. Can I train tomorrow? Is it counterproductive? And should I wait one day until my T level comes back up? I think you are massively overthinking there. Massively overthinking. Chill out. What's the logic behind adding GI carbs to a diet on the hardest training day? It's about... you're in LiveUP, you probably are, Leachy, surname rings a bell. It's about giving you a fuel replenish, basically, to completely recharge your cells, and also high glycemic index carbs are going to stimulate the thyroid. They're going to give you a massive leptin spike, which is going to help to control your appetite as well, which is going to make dieting the following few days a little less difficult. But they're also going to stimulate your thyroid, and your metabolism is going to ramp up a little bit, therefore burning fat at a higher rate, whilst you take the calories away in the next couple of days, and your calorie deficit is then therefore a little bit larger based on what your metabolism is burning. It's much easier to refill the muscle stores with higher GI carbs when you are in the right condition as well. When training chest, I feel as if I'm using my back to push the weights. Do you have any tips to engage the chest more? Kenny Cullen, best thing you can do is, right, let me think, let me grab some. I'm going to grab my other laptop, give me 2 seconds. Right. Something I really like, just to get my chest firing up before a set, you can either do isometrics on something like a pec deck, okay? So you know the pec deck, the thing where you're moving in and out. You can either do isometrics on there where you bring them in and you just try to hold in the center position, squeezing your pec as hard as you can. Alternatively, something that I really like, which you'll see a lot of people do, get yourself a 5 or 10 kilo plate, ideally not a Mac, because if you drop it, it can be expensive. But 5 or 10 kilo plate, and place it between your hands, okay? Flat like that, okay? So you're not going to be grabbing it, you're going to be putting pressure to hold it, and then simply push it out in front of you. If all of you do that now, whether you're holding a book handy, or even if you just put your hands together, when you drive it out to full lock, you're going to feel your chest really engage. So what you would want to do, just to get it fired up before a training session, is get a 5 or 10 kilo plate, depending on what you can manage, and just do a set of 15, 20 reps. Really get your pecs working, and you're putting inwards pressure, squeezing inwards around that plate at all times. All of you who are sitting there now, do that, put your hands together, and then drive out, pushing it in as hard as you can, and see what it does to your chest. Tell me. Back again. Kizzer, your advice is second to none. Brilliant. That means I'm first. Yes. Marbella is a place to train. I'll check it out and join. It is insane out here. You'll love our gym. It's epic, and the refurbishment will be complete. We're going to have 3 or 4 days where we're going to have to be doing work. One day where we'll be shut, but the rest of the days we're going to do it as people are moving around. It should all be finished within about 2 weeks. It's going to be insane. What's the cost of the course you're teaching in October in Marbella? Agostino, if you go to Elliot Upton, that's me, ELLIOTTUPTON, on Instagram, hit the link in my bio and you will get the entire information, everything that's going on there. Man like Solly, welcome back. How regularly should you be doing mobility, pre or post workout and on non-training days? Man like Solly, I suggest you do it every day. You know, some light stretching over here. I have right next to my desk, I have both a roller, which I try to use daily, especially on like my calves, because my calves tighten up massively. So I'd recommend using one of these every single day without fail. And I also quite often in the evenings sit, if I'm working, if I'm reading emails, and I will run that along my quads, on my legs. It's just a nice hard roller bar, kind of like a rolling pin for your body, and that helps to break stuff down. That, including some light stretching, especially if you have particularly tight muscles in certain areas, stretch them out daily, and you should be doing some kind of mobility drill, dynamic mobility drill, before you train. For those of you who want a dynamic mobility drill, just to get you started, I put a really quick one on my Instagram stories, so you can go to my IGTV on Elliot Upton, check that out, and that's just a live warm-up. You can do it with me, or you go to my YouTube channel again, which is Elliot Upton, and I've put a warm-up on there which you can just pop up on your phone and you can follow it every single day if you need to. Just gets you through. Matt, you missed my question when the phone rang. I can't remember what your question was. I've probably answered it, so you may have to give me it again. Thoughts on creatine, must have or avoid? It's not necessarily a must have, but it's really beneficial. Creatine is very beneficial, not only for lifters, but it's been shown to really help degenerative bone disease, things like that. Apparently now there are some studies going on that's actually helping cognitive ability and mental function, so it's something that's very useful to a lot of people. Evening, I've bought both books. 6 foot, slim, quite active on 2,200 calories, starting to feel lethargic. Should increase calories by 5%. It depends what your goal is, you know. Lethargy isn't necessarily going to be related to your diet. For the majority of people that turn around and say, you know, they're on 2,000 calories plus, but they're lethargic, it's usually because they're dehydrated. Or they have their macros wrong. They have too many carbs rather than as many fats as they need. So it's not necessarily going to be diet. Don't be so quick to increase your food. If your goal is to get lean, you need to remain in a relatively solid deficit. If your goal is to get bigger, you're going to want to then maybe, take your calories up, but you need to tell me what's happening with your body. Are you getting leaner? Are you not moving at all? Are you getting bigger? What's happening? Ari, your Mac example, could you use 2 dumbbells pushed together to work the inner chest? Man like Solly, the reason I don't use 2 dumbbells is because you're too far apart, and what you're going to do is start recruiting the anterior delt far more. Whereas if you use a plate that you can't actually hold on to, you are forced to push inward pressure. I don't want you being able to hold on to anything. You see what I mean? If you can hold something, there's no issue. When you're trying to stop something from falling by putting your hands together, you have to engage the chest. So for me, that's a really, really suboptimal way to do it. Dave Hill's literally just finished phase 3 workout, bicep, tricep, supersets, made me swear like never before. Yeah, I have fun. I do have fun writing some of these LiveUP phases. You know, we've got to phase 15 now, which I will finish tomorrow. Shit's going on. Actually, I need to send myself a reminder about that. They are getting pretty cool. We do all sorts of funny stuff towards the end of the phases when things get a little bit more advanced. And that, don't worry, I'm still here. When things get a little bit more advanced, we do start playing around with all sorts of different training protocols. They get awesome. We've got some strong people on the LiveUP plan now as well. 15 jobs. If there's something that I can recommend all of you do, obviously I'm a bit different. I live alone. My work dominates my life. I love my job more than I love anything else. So I've got a big whiteboard up in my living room. Write to-do lists. If you have stuff to do, remember it. Write a list where you will see it every single day and get it ticked off. Super important that. For so many of you out there who struggle with productivity, struggle to get stuff done, struggle to progress in your career, writing to-do lists, especially somewhere damn obvious like that, can change everything for you because you get so much done, you become so much more productive, and it's very, very easy to walk out first thing in the morning, look at that, your list of stuff. I clear it every single night. I get real problems if I don't clear my list of shit to do. I can't sleep. I know that's not necessarily healthy, but it's just how I am. But this will be something for me to do tomorrow. If anything else pops up, it will go on this board, and then I can make sure it's all ticked off before I go to bed in the evening. Yes, sometimes that gets a bit silly. I was up until about 2:30 this morning because I had to get shit off my board, but that's just me. I wouldn't recommend you like that. It's just how I am because I get a little bit addicted to working for UP. I love it. But yeah, some awesome shit going on in the phases. Can we watch this live again? Will you upload it somewhere? Mika, absolutely yes. You can watch it here again on your phone for the next 24 hours. It will be on YouTube. Then over the coming week, I will load it up onto, you can watch it on Instagram. On the coming week, sometime, depending on how forgiving YouTube is with me, because it can be a real bitch to upload it, I will be loading it onto my YouTube channel, which is Elliot Upton. It's also where you can find the backlog of the majority of the live feeds I've done. They have taken away about 50. I don't know what happened with my YouTube, but they pulled away. Obviously, if there's anyone out there who's quite tech savvy and knows what's going on, do please feel free to give me an answer to this. YouTube seemed to take about half of my videos off my channel for no apparent reason, just the live feeds, just these. I don't know what was going on, if it's something to do with branding or blah, 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 who knows. But yeah, that was frustrating. You can watch it all on my YouTube channel, which is Elliot Upton. Logan, when starting with a client for the first time, one-to-one, what conversations do you have to start off on the right track? It's a really good question, Logan. First and foremost, the main conversation you need to have with your client is you find out what their expectations are, okay? Of course, you need to know their goal, but you need to find out their expectations of that goal. How fast do they think they can achieve it? How hard do they think they're going to have to work to achieve it? What do they think? What are their preconceptions about what is needed to achieve the goal that they have come to you for? Once you have figured out what they expect, you need to really clearly and often be a little bit brutal about managing their expectations, because a lot of clients, and the main reason most clients become unmotivated, become a bit distracted, and maybe don't commit long term is because they have massively unrealistic expectations of what is possible and how fast certain things are possible. You need to figure out their goal and then break down their expectations and decide what is realistic for them. And you need to sit and agree with them. Take this conversation seriously, because if clients especially, or anyone, whatever you're doing, if your expectations are managed effectively, it's very hard to become unmotivated, because if you set out realistic expectations, therefore you set out realistic goals, they are very easy to chase down. I had an amazing conversation with a close friend of mine today, Hannah. I'll talk about it in a little bit with regards to writing down goals, writing down your expectations of yourself. Really powerful. So that would be, for me, there are many other conversations you can have, but the most important one is find out the specific goal, find out the expectations that that are associated with that goal, and then manage those expectations. That's the number one conversation you should be having with your clients. Super important, and map it all out, write it down. When can we get a video of what Elliot eats for the week? Basically a meal prep video. I don't prep my own food. 2 reasons. I really don't necessarily have the time. I know a lot of people say it, but you would be staggered by the amount of hours I work. That's not to say I'm the most productive man in the world. What I do with my job is there's an awful lot of hours and it's lots of little, not insignificant things, but it takes up a lot of hours of my day. So cooking is one of those things that, you know, I don't necessarily want to do. Secondly, I hate cooking. I hate cooking. I hate cooking. I despise it. It stresses me out. It makes me anxious. I really do not like it. I'm shit at cooking. I don't know about flavors. I get frustrated. I rush things. I just don't like cooking, which is ironic because eating's like my favorite thing. But I really don't like cooking. So I actually get meal prep companies to deliver my stuff. Now, there's probably a bunch of you out there saying, oh, that's okay for you if you can afford meal prep, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? So can you. I put out a post a little while ago that may be worth checking out. The majority of meal prep companies can make you money. I'm not talking about affiliate deals. I'm not talking about use my bro code on Instagram to get free meals, blah, 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 blah. If you find the right meal prep company, they are going to save you an awful lot of time, an awful lot of stress, an awful lot of shopping time, all of the crap that comes along with having to eat. Sounds weird, but it's true. The chances are you will spend, let's say, up to 10 hours a week cooking. Now, yes, getting a meal prep company to do it can be expensive, 20, 30, 40 pounds a day, depending on how much you're eating. But it's only expensive if you choose to waste those 10 hours. If instead you've saved 10 hours and you think, you know what, I'm going to be productive, I'm going to work on my side hustle, I'm going to work on my side project, I'm going to educate myself more, I'm going to do an evening course, I'm going to use those 10 hours to study or become better at something else which is going to move me forward. If you're smart about the time that is being saved on anything, but meal prep specifically, you can make that a profitable investment. It is an investment. Now, there are millions of meal prep companies all over the world now, some good, some bad, especially if you're in any major city, you can get your hands on 50 different variations. For anyone out there, I highly recommend it because the fact of the matter is you may save £5 a day, but the chances are most of you get breakfast on the move. You drink 2 or 3 coffees a day. You probably go out 2 or 3 times a week and spend 30, 40 quid on food. Your food bill weekly, eating out, is probably somewhere between 50 and 150 quid, which guess what would have paid for your meal prep? You've spent it anyway, and you've wasted the hours cooking and shopping and doing all this shit. So it's a very, very efficient way to eat, and that is why I choose to do it that way, because I get tasty food that I don't have to cook, don't have to stress about, and because it's there, and I'm never caught short, I eat on plan. I eat on my diet for the most part because I'm not caught without food. The only thing that kind of throws me sometimes is when I'm traveling, but it's more not having enough food as opposed to having the right foods, etc. So I highly recommend meal prep companies. I can absolutely, of course, show you exactly what I eat. I'll do it tomorrow if you want. You know, give me a yes to Elliot's food tomorrow and I can show you that tomorrow. But on the whole, I get meal prep companies to do it because you can waste your time, you can waste your effort, you can waste your energy and not get results, or you can put a little bit of investment in, use the extra 10 hours to do something productive and get results. Which one of those 2 situations is the most beneficial? Obviously, I need to shamelessly plug Eat Up. Across Manchester and London, UP, of course, have our own meal prep businesses that we use with our clients, which obviously deliver the results that you have seen consistently. So check them out. Eat Up, E-A-T-U-P. We have the Instagram page, or you can go to eatup.com or UP Fitness. You can send us a direct message direct to this profile, and we can help you out with that. So highly recommend it. Keza, Elliot, you are brilliant. Thanks for all the advice and questions answered. You're welcome. Thank you for getting involved. Luke Matthews, how do you rate turmeric and chondroitin, glucosamine chondroitin tablets for sore joints and lower back muscles? With regards to things like turmeric, curcumin, very, very good for inflammation if you're taking enough of it and it's high enough dosage. A lot of people take these things but don't take them consistently enough to really feel the effects. So yes, absolutely, something like curcumin is very, very, very useful. Take it. We have our own curcumin brand, UP brand. You can go to upfitness.com and you can type curcumin in the search bar. We take 1 capsule with each meal, and that is going to have an effect within a week. You're going to start to feel joint pain, issues like that, general chronic inflammation issues start to reduce massively, especially if you team it up with something like glutathione, which again is great for bringing down inflammation and reducing the effects of free radicals. So jump on them, curcumin and glutathione. With regards to glucosamines, chondroitin, again, it's been shown to work, it's been shown to give improvements. I'm pretty lucky that I don't have pain with many of my joints. I take care of myself, and I think genetically I'm relatively lucky in that respect. But glucosamine chondroitin has been shown to work. Again, the majority of things with all supplements, it's not isolated to, you know, this statement, but the majority of supplements don't necessarily have such a profound effect because people don't take them consistently enough or in a high enough dose. You know, the majority of people say, oh yeah, but I take a multivitamin and that has everything that I need in it. Your multivitamin probably doesn't have everything you need in it. Or if it does, it has it in such low quantities, it's not necessarily going to make a huge difference to loads of different things. So if you take a multivitamin and you take additional magnesium and you are taking curcumin and you are taking a few other kind of prime supplements, vitamin D, zinc is one that you may not want to take if you are taking a multivitamin, because most multivitamins do have enough zinc in them. But those kind of things, you need to usually take a slightly higher dose than you think, and that is going to set you right, and then you'll really see the difference. Mika, what do you do as a trainer when your client metabolically adapts to the amount of calories he or she is eating and doesn't lose fat anymore? What if that person is already on a low-calorie diet? Mika, then you send the calories up. If someone has stopped losing calories on a diet, a low-calorie diet, you need to take them up, because what you have done is slowed down their metabolism. So you need to ramp it back up again and then bring it back down again. You know, the way to think about it, again, if you go to my profile, I've done loads of videos on this. The way to think about it is if someone's sort of metabolic set point, if the amount of calories they burn, okay, the amount of calories they burn is here, you need to bring their diet down here. So this gap in between is fat loss, essentially. But what is going to happen as it goes is eventually their metabolic rate meets it. At that stage, you're going to want to bring it down again. Eventually, their metabolic rate meets it. At this point, you're at a lower baseline. You can't take it any lower. But what you then need to do is you need to spike their calories, or this is why we do things like refeeds. You spike their calories to get the metabolism burning back up here, and then you take it away and you repeat the cycle. So what most diet calorie-wise actually look like are waves, or sound waves. Tick, tick. That's what a long-term diet plan is likely to look like if you are getting somebody lean. It will start at high points, it will drop, and then it will spike back up, and it will drop. That is going to allow you to constantly fire up someone's metabolism whilst keeping them in an average deficit long-term. BV Fitness, what's up? Mike Atkins, yo, what's the hardest client you've had and how did you deal with their issues? Christ, that's a massive question, Mike. It's a huge question because it depends what you mean by hard. You know, I've had some clients who just didn't want to change, and they are very, very difficult. You know, some clients who just wanted to waste time. I've had clients in the past when I was younger and better looking and more charming. It sounds ridiculous, but I had clients who wanted to train with me just because they wanted to train with me. They had no intention of it. You know, sexual come-ons, and it was usually men, by the way, for those of you wondering. I lived in Brighton. There were people who just wanted to essentially try and get in my pants, and that has happened. These are the sort of clients I can't do anything with, and obviously, by the time I realised that I was worth my time, again, I've done a video on that if anyone wants to watch it on IGTV, by the time I realised I was worth my time, it was a case of, listen, if you're not going to come in and take this seriously, we're talking 6 months into my career here, if you're not going to come in and take this seriously, you need to leave. And that was my way of thinking from then on, and that's when everything got better for me, because I value my time. I value my time. It is the most valuable thing I'll ever have in my life, because it runs out. It's the only thing that does run out, and it is irreplaceable. All of you out there, remember that. Your time is irreplaceable. Do not fucking waste it on anything or anyone. I've also had clients who had serious injuries, which made it very, very difficult to train them. But there are always ways around it. You need to look at the capability of that client. If they have an injury and it's an injury you can't fix, obviously your goal is to try and fix it and make their life easier, make them healthier. But if it's something they can't fix, you know, if someone's lost an arm, you can't regrow their arm. I'm pretty good at my job, but I can't regrow an arm. Maybe I should try. You need to work around it. You need to figure out what their capabilities are and how you can work around whatever ailments they have in order to move them towards their goal. I have had people who are just completely non-compliant or completely take excuses. Now you have two options. I wouldn't have said empathy is necessarily one of my greatest skill sets as a person. I'm quite brutal, you know. I think, stop making fucking excuses. If you want to get something done, just do it. Find a way to do it. Take action, don't talk about it all the time. So I can be a little bit brutal in that respect, but at the same time, there are certain clients who, they're not doing things because they're lazy. They're doing things because of programming, because of the way they are coded, and different approaches need to be taken. Some clients need the foot on the neck approach, You know, put your foot in the net, you do this or else. And they'll be like, yes, awesome. They like the almost dominant style of trainer. There are other people who you need to understand the psychology of dieting, psychology of training. They need safety, they need security, they need slowly catchy monkey style approaches. And we have to adapt to it. So the most challenging client could be one of 50. You know, before I started doing or concentrating the majority of my efforts online, I trained in-house anywhere between, I worked it out to be anywhere between 15 and 18,000 hours of one-to-one PT before I even started online training. And within that, there are a lot of very difficult clients, but each one taught me massive lessons. Each one allowed me to adapt and become a much better trainer. Ultimately, I'm my worst client. You know, there are a number of things that have gone wrong and continue to go wrong with my body because of past health issues, this, that and the other, but my biggest ailments, my biggest problems are the ones that made me the best PT. And I'm thankful for them in that respect because it's really helped. It's never easy, but it's really helped my career. So I've been my hardest client, and I get past that by constantly trying to learn, assess and adapt. And that's very important. You need to be fluid as a trainer. You need to be ready to move. You need to be ready to accept when you're wrong and admit when you're wrong. And you need to be constantly learning and moving wherever you need to move in order to make it through. Loving the tutorial content you've been posting on your page lately. Helped me on my form and a few lists recently, so thank you. No worries, man like Solly. I'm trying to do an all, you know, kind of vary a lot of stuff at the moment to try and help you all. But obviously it's difficult, it's a minefield, you know, it's very easy on social media to get drawn into certain things because the majority of people on social media with large coverage, large influence are people who are completely fucking useless. And it's very easy to start walking down the wrong rabbit hole. So what I'm trying to do now is put out some relatively useless content, which is just fun and a bit of a laugh, put some of my own personality and put the technical education stuff that I know a lot of you ask for. I used to just be purely work, and I got told by tons of you that you wanted to know more about my personality. So I started putting a little bit about that on my Instagram and on my YouTube, so thank you for saying so. I'm glad somebody is watching it. On the forum, sometimes people post recipes that include things such as tomato puree, paste, stock. Are these allowed? Stock, absolutely yes. With regards to pastes and stuff, much more difficult because they're unaccounted calories. If you're putting in something like paste, tomato puree paste, etc., you're going to need to look at the makeup of it and then ask on the forum. So if you're putting in a couple of tablespoons of paste, it doesn't fit. You know, it does not fit. And I would recommend asking on the forum. You need to tag me in order for me to see it because obviously thousands of things are going up on that forum every day. It's hard for me to monitor them all. You need to tell me what you've got and what you're putting in it, and I'll either say yes or no, or you're going to need to take X away in order to fit this in. Ninja. Alright, Miko, how strong to train if you are under a caloric deficit, same as you're on maintenance? Absolutely, yeah. You don't be a little bitch about your training just because you're in a deficit. If you put yourself in a deficit and then you train less hard than you would ordinarily, then you're probably not going to be in that much of a deficit anymore. Capiche? Non-fitness. SARMs are, the theory behind SARMs, if I remember rightly, are kind of hormonal boosters, which don't work. Ultimately, these hormonal boosters, usually testosterone boosters, they say that they've got loads and loads of stuff in them that increases your testosterone, that does all of these things. They tend not to. For the most part, the majority of things in these SARM supplements aren't actually in them, or if they are in there, they are in quantities that are not recorded on the tin and not legally necessarily have to be recorded on the tablet they come in. It could be too low or considerably high. Not worth messing around with. Your best friend, all of you out there, every single one of you, whether male or female, your best friend when it comes to increasing testosterone, which is going to burn more fat, it's going to build more muscle, it's going to make you more assertive, it's going to make you more horny, is number one, to rest, to make sure you are getting good quality sleep. Number one, rest. Number two, eat a diet with enough fats in it. Number three, have a lot of sex. Those three things are going to maximize your testosterone, which is going to maximize your ability to lose fat, going to maximize your ability to build muscle. So I hope all of you there just turned around and looked at your partners on number three and went, told you. Giggity. If they went, oh, you might be in the wrong relationship. Non-fitness question, but what blue light blockers do you use as I need a new pair? I have, very simply, these wonderful things. which make me look rather handsome. The reason I don't wear them on these, which is why my eyes tend to be ruined at the end of a Wednesday, is obviously because you see the light that's sitting behind this and keeping me very, very warm and sweaty. But I use these. These are just lenses that fit my particular eye issue. My eyes are fine. I had perfect 20/20 vision. Unfortunately, because I spend so much time in front of a computer or a phone now working, it's wrecked the nerve behind my left eye really, really badly, and it's screwed the vision in this eye. So when I realised that was happening, I started to lose my vision. I got the glasses, and it really, really does help. To put it in perspective as to why I think all of you out there certainly should get your eyes tested and spend as little time looking at blue screens without a filter as possible, is that the nerve that has burned around my eye is always the same nerve that gets burnt with blue light. But I can look at my phone as I am now. Whenever I look at my phone, day or night, the left-hand side of my head starts to burn. I can feel it behind my eye. It actually hurts. I can't really get away with it when I'm doing this because of the light and how ridiculous it makes me look. But it actually burns the back of my eye. As soon as I put my glasses on, gone. And we're talking within 3 or 4 seconds, the pain goes. It's a very, very profound. So I'd highly recommend you get down to your optician, you get them to test your glasses, or test your eyes, sorry, and give you some lenses, some lovely, smooth looking Giorgio Armani glasses like this, where you can look rather intelligent in front of women, and you can be dramatic by taking them off and going like that. But they will really, 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 really help you. You can never get time back. It's a great investment. Absolutely right. Yes, yes, yes. See what you eat tomorrow. Okay, I'll take some photos if I remember. With the meal prep on UP, how would these fit in based on the macros or set meals? You can sort it out with your macros. You send them through what you need and they'll give you set meals that roughly match it. It's the easiest way to do it. Thanks for another quality live video. One of the few people I actually admire and listen to in the fitness industry. I really, really appreciate that, Kenny. Thank you very, very much. Do make sure you tell your friends. You know, the more people we can get on this, the better we can improve the industry. There's so much misinformation out there. There's so many people talking shit and generally just lying to people in order to sell a product. It's great that you guys come on here, you take the time on a Wednesday to actually listen to me rant and talk about all sorts of stuff, so I really, really appreciate it. Do tell your friends. Obviously get over and follow all the profiles, follow at LiveUp Online, follow myself. There's different stuff going out. Obviously the stuff on my personal profile is quite different to my at LiveUp Online profile, slightly less professional, so you'll get some of the more Elliot side of Elliot there. Michael Haynes, are taking ZMAs beneficial? Thanks, mate. Absolutely, yes. Taking a ZMA supplement, which is zinc, magnesium, iron, and boron, if I remember rightly, is beneficial. Now, however, I'm not a massive fan of taking a ZMA supplement over, say, zinc and magnesium. Now, iron, you'll usually find in a multivitamin. Zinc, again, you'll find in a multivitamin. Boron, sometimes you'll find in a multivitamin. If you don't, boron is very, very useful, again, for elevating testosterone because it lowers SHBG, sex hormone binding globulin. So it's going to free up more testosterone, very, very beneficial. So they're all useful supplements in there. My one complaint with ZMA supplements, which tend to be taken late at night, is that, number one, there is not enough magnesium in them. You need more magnesium, so it's worth taking a separate magnesium supplement before bed. Secondly, zinc, it's an activator. It wakes you up, it stimulates you. Zinc pushes you up, magnesium is designed to push you down. Okay, it calms you down. This is why it's so beneficial at night. Taking them both together, which is often what you're instructed to do in the evenings, is not the smartest idea. One of them's waking you up, one of them's pushing you down. So what I recommend is you take your zinc, boron, etc., iron in a multivitamin or earlier on in the morning, and you take your magnesium at night in a higher dose. If you don't want to do that, then ZMA, it is a good supplement. It's all useful stuff in there. Just make sure you're getting a good quality one. Sandra, yes, I'd like to see what you eat and how much it costs. I hate cooking. No problem. Views on DIM. DIM is absolutely phenomenal. It's diindolylmethane, its name. It's derived from a compound called indole-3-carbinol, which is found in spinach, kale, cauliflower, broccoli, things like that, which is why those are kind of your big useful vegetables, the dark green leaves and the big cruciferous vegetables. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible for helping support the detoxification of xenoestrogens, chemical estrogens that your body absorbs and causes you an awful lot of damage, reduces your testosterone, messes with your estrogen levels, gives men bitch tits, gives women fatter bums, fatter hips. It helps to bring all of that down. It reduces the level of estrogenic toxicity, gets it out of your body, and helps your body actually excrete it, which is going to rebalance everything. For those of you out there who have again, men with bitch tits or bigger hips carrying extra fat around their belly, for women who are having trouble getting rid of fat off their bum and their thighs, and again their belly, or females out there who have really, really bad symptoms with PMS, something like DIM alongside calcium D-glucarate, which actually helps to liquefy these toxins, get them into the detoxification process, can be really, really useful. We have a supplement called Estro Support. Estro Support, you can go over to upfitness.com and type it in the search bar, Estro Support. All women, pretty much, and all men can benefit from taking it, so get over and take a look at that. DIM, very, very good, absolutely, yes, you should be taking it. What if the person has a limited range of certain movements and can't train hard? Results will take a long time. Again, not necessarily. I'm yet to meet anyone who has such a limited, and again, many, many years in the industry, that has such a limited range of motion that they can't train hard. I'm not sure what that's really got to do with the output of your training. Obviously, I can understand it. If someone can't go past 45 degrees of knee flexion, you're not going to get a good intensity squatting with them. But you can get an amazing intensity doing sleds, prowlers, RDLs, back extensions, bench pressing, pull-ups. You know, limited range, you'd have to basically be a statue, literally a statue, unable to move, or in a full body cast to not be able to get an adequate training intensity. As I say, I've seen people with no legs, one leg, one arm, no arms, get unbelievable training intensities because they want to. This is the difference. It's a desire to train. I suffer from gout and remedies which work a treat. I wouldn't know, unfortunately. Apologies for that. I'm not going to be able to answer that question for you, but I can try to remind myself to do some reading on it with my magical pen. Gout. Have a little read on that tomorrow. Get on over to my profile, Elliot Upton, or the LiveUP online profile, and I will try to answer that shortly. Mr. Steve, good point on the meal prep earlier, but I know you usually refer to eating organic food, especially meat, for the nutrient benefits. Rare to find organic meal prep. Yes, you're right, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. The majority of them, though, depending on the size of them, you know, if it's a huge, huge company, slightly more difficult, but the majority of smaller ones, if you just ask them, they will. That's what I get the guys out here to do. I just say, listen, I want high quality meat, do not give me shitty meats. And you can taste it, you can taste the difference. If they give me shitty meats, there is a problem, but they're more than willing to kind of adapt to what you need. AJ, have lots of sex, it's easy to say. It is absolutely easy to say, and doing it with your hand doesn't count for those of you out there who are thinking, oh, no problem. People, with people. You talk total sense. I do try to, not all of the time though. If you want to lose fat, is it beneficial to cut carbs completely for a few weeks? After that, what sources should your carbs come from? Absolutely, yes, it is for everyone, because it massively brings down inflammation, brings down water retention, drives motivation up, gets you insulin sensitive. After that, start integrating low GI carbs like whole grain carbs such as oats, rice, etc. post-workout. Start to gradually build them up to find your tolerance for carbs. I'm a guy who has no butt but would like curves. Then if you've got no butt, hip thrust. Hip thrust, hip thrust, hip thrust, hip thrust, hip thrust. Variations thereof. I hip thrust 3 times a week. I haven't necessarily got a butt. YouTube can't quite see it, unfortunately, no. But I haven't necessarily got a butt, but I've certainly got strong glutes. Again, if you go over to my profile, Elliot Upton, you will see a small video that someone caught of me the other day doing hip thrust with 280 kilos. So you can see it's a very, very heavy movement. It's a movement that's very easy to get strong with, and it's a movement that will have a massive carryover to your squats, deadlifts, and injury prevention. So I recommend all of you out there, men and women, squat to have a booty. It's very, very useful to you. It's very, very beneficial. A friend of mine has been told to eat high protein, low fat, and drink things like those cheap little probiotic yogurts because of an overactive thyroid. Had partial removal. High protein, yes. Low fat, not necessarily. I'd want to put some carbohydrates in there because carbohydrates can stimulate thyroid if used correctly. And with regards to probiotic yogurts, that tends to be the kind of fools that turn around and say, oh yeah, have some probiotics. There's a Yakult or a Actimel or a blah blah blah. Take a proper probiotic, a proper probiotic like Gut Flora or a medical grade probiotic. That's going to be far more beneficial. One of the side effects of high estrogen, we talked about Estro Support the other day. See how long that seemed ago. About 5 minutes ago, we talked about Estro Support, a supplement that helps to bring down toxic estrogens in your body. One of the side effects of toxic estrogens, aside from cancer, which is quite a big side effect, is it can bring down your thyroid level. It can really, really damage your thyroid level. So taking supplements of that can really, really help. Dave, it's hard to say. I mean, that isn't necessarily how I would look at things. but I don't know the specific circumstance. There could be a very, very specific circumstance that has meant that someone has delivered those instructions to him or her, so hard to say. I have an interview with UP in September. Any advice? Should I prepare something? Thanks in advance. Research the company, research what you think you need to know, make sure you're up to scratch on your programming, make sure you're up to scratch on your nutrition, and be yourself. Don't try to be clever because we will catch you out. And good luck. Maybe I'll see you as part of the team in the coming months. You're welcome, Bhupendra. Any advice for avoiding bruising hip bones with hip thrusts? Yeah, nice thick mats. Again, if you look at that video that I reshared the other day, I just fold a normal mat a couple of times, and they're quite thick mats. The thicker the mat, the better. But it's a real bitch. It is a real bitch. One of the things I really like to do as well, right? I don't rest the bar on my hip bones. Like for me, the bar should not be resting on your hip bones. You want to try and rest it a little bit further down if you can tolerate that. So it's resting on the muscles. I actually rest mine on the muscles of my upper leg, and that for me is far, far better. Elliot, can you please offer any examples of good adaptogenic herbs for energy? Adaptogenic herbs are going to help to control the effects of cortisol in your body on the whole. Holy basil, very, very useful, and rhodiola rosea, both of those two, so I'll say them again so you can write them down. Holy basil and rhodiola rosea are adaptogenic herbs that can really, really help to reduce the effects of cortisol in your body, which is in turn going to potentially increase testosterone. It's going to reduce feelings of lethargy because your adrenal glands are going to be supported. Ashwagandha, again, is a really, really good one. So any one of those three can be useful. AE1, Elliot is awesome, guys. One of the only guys I actually trust when it comes to information. I appreciate that. Thank you for saying. We've got 3 minutes left, guys, so these are about to be quick fire questions. Mika, do you recommend CrossFit for people with back pain and scoliosis? I recommend CrossFit for people who want back pain and scoliosis, not necessarily for people who have back pain and scoliosis. CrossFit is one of those things, it has an unbelievable amount of things that it has to be thanked for in the fitness industry. The sense of community, the levels of motivation and support that you get in a CrossFit box are second to none. They are not found anywhere else in any other form of exercise. It also got a bunch of people who ordinarily would have been sitting on the sofa watching Netflix, lifting weights. It's an amazing, amazing thing in that aspect. However, I think in my entire life I've probably only seen 3 CrossFit coaches who I respect because of the way they teach. The rest is just blind lifting past fatigue, really trying to mess people up. Not necessarily trying, but having no awareness. Again, you can qualify as a CrossFit coach. We've looked into this because we're thinking about doing something similar in our Marbella gym here to do it correctly, as an example of how to do it correctly. You can qualify in 2 days from nothing. There's no prerequisites. I looked at it on the CrossFit website the other day. You can qualify from being a fucking insurance salesman in 2 days. That for anything is bad enough. That for personal training, when it's usually under controlled circumstances, is bad enough. When you are trying to teach someone advanced Olympic lifts, there's not much else I can say about that. It's a very, very, very bad situation. So no, I wouldn't necessarily say you should be doing CrossFit if you've got scoliosis or back problems, unless you want to develop scoliosis or back problems. What's my favourite workout? God, what a big question. The LiveUP ones, obviously. LiveUP Phase 3. Frozen fruit versus fresh, any real difference? Taste, temperature. There's actually research to suggest that frozen fruit is contains more nutrients than normal fruit. The reason being is that as soon as a fruit is picked off a tree, it starts to lose its nutrients. Okay, it's not having the feed from the ground, from the tree. As soon as it is picked, it is losing its nutrients. The thing is with frozen fruit is it's picked and then almost immediately frozen, therefore locking in the nutrients. So theoretically, frozen fruit is actually more beneficial than normal fresh fruit, depending on how fresh. Usually fresh fruit is not actually that fresh. It's sprayed with stuff to keep it preserved. It's then shipped from God knows where, spends 2 weeks on a container, then it gets to your supermarket where it's wrapped in plastic and given to you. So there's not necessarily any benefit to either or, but certainly don't be afraid of using frozen fruit. No worries, no worries. Are supplements like protein necessary, or can you do it all naturally? Protein is natural. Protein is very, very natural. Protein is found in damn near everything. Protein is absolutely natural. Taking extra protein, taking a protein shake post-workout, in my mind, is considerably more beneficial than not, because it is designed to be absorbed rapidly. It is very, very high quality protein. It is very, very low cost protein. So if you're on a budget, you should absolutely be taking a post-workout approach, and it is not unnatural. There's a lot of you out there that still think protein shakes and creatine and all of these things are some kind of steroid. Don't worry, they are not. They're all found in food. You are good. Yes, it's beneficial to take a protein supplement. We have 30 seconds remaining, folks, so anyone who has a question, get it in now. 200 to 400 of magnesium per day, absolutely yes, that's what I've always recommended. I take about 400. In the past, I've taken up to a gram, and I absolutely recommend you do the same. 200 to 400 is perfect for the majority of people. 15 seconds. Come on, what have we got? Have we got anyone else with a question before I have to shut this down? 10 seconds, the clock is ticking. Go in quick, how fast can your fingers type? Or is everyone off having sex after I said that it was going to help? What type of magnesium? Any chelated or 3-in-8? Goodbye, people. I am out. That was our Instagram live feed on @UPFitnessLive. Get on over there to check it out on Instagram. Obviously, go to my profile @ElliotUpton. Go and check out the LiveUP online programs. Come check out UP Marbella if you're ever in Spain, because we are having this beautiful refurb. It's going to be sick. Get involved with my training camp on October 3rd to the 6th, 2019, out here in Marbella. If you want information on that, go to my go to my Instagram, get on the link on the bio, and all the details are there. I will also post links in the description box below here to absolutely everything you need. Our supplements, our products, our online products, our main website, the boot camp, all of the other social media channels. That's about as much as you're going to need. If you have any more questions, put them in the comments box below. Follow me on Instagram or ask me questions live next week when you see me on here. We're doing these every 2 weeks. Thank you for your support. Like, share, do all of the above, and I will see you very, very soon.